5 things that you must not do when you come to visit the biggest city in South America, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing you must not do is you must not stay in downtown central Sao Paulo. Now you may be wondering why I would suggest that, because surely central Sao Paulo is the place to be. That's where you have the Mercado Municipal, that's where you have the cathedral, you have the municipal theatre, you've got the Santander building where you can go to the top of the building and get a nice view all over the city. Surely central Sao Paulo is where you want to be. Well, okay, yeah, there are definitely things to do here and you definitely want to come and check out those things. However, I implore you to look at these clips here. Look at these upcoming clips and comment below if you think you would be happy to book a hotel or an Airbnb in this part of town, because these streets in these clips are all from central Sao Paulo. As you can see, run down, derelict buildings, rubbish, litter, trash all over the streets. And that's not the worst thing. When you come to central Sao Paulo, you're going to see streets filled up with so many homeless people. I've never seen so many homeless people in my life. It is absolutely shocking. And you may hear a few junkies along the way screaming their heads off. It really is not comfortable viewing being in central Sao Paulo. If you do book accommodation here, I guarantee you, you will cut your trip short and you will leave Sao Paulo early, which is a shame because Sao Paulo is actually a very cool city with some really nice neighborhoods to check out. But as I suggested before, some of Sao Paulo's top tourist attractions are unfortunately in central downtown Sao Paulo. So I would recommend getting those activities all done within one day. So plan a day to get all of that done. I would probably do something like this. I'd get the metro to República station and then you can walk to the municipal theatre. Then you can either walk or take an Uber to the cathedral, the Set Cathedral. After that, you want to take an Uber over to the Mercado Municipal, and I highly recommend taking an Uber and not walking. The walk is rough. I did this walk and yeah, it's not comfortable at all because of all the homeless people, the rundown buildings, the junkies. But then you're at the Mercado Municipal and that's where you get the famous Moradella sandwich. The famous place to go is Bar do Mani, but there are other places in the market selling the Moradella sandwich. I must say though, they are quite overpriced in the market. You do get much cheaper Moradella sandwiches across the city, but it's a tourist thing to do, that's why the prices are higher. But you can have your lunch here at the Mercado Municipal and then again take Uber over to the Farrell Santandere, the big Santander building. It's the big building that you see on all the internet pictures of Sao Paulo or all the postcards. So you can go up to the top of it and book a ticket. Now there are a couple of other things that you may be interested in downtown Sao Paulo. You have this place called Martinelli, which is basically like a rooftop bar stroke nightclub that you may want to go to. It's actually in this clip you see in my video here from the Farrell Santandere. There is also another viewpoint, another observation deck. It's called Sampa 360, but tickets here were very expensive, so I didn't go there because I thought the tickets were far too overpriced. 165 reais is about $30 US, so it is a lot cheaper to go to the Farrell Santandere because that's only 45 reais, which is just under $8 US. But then that's it. That's your day in central Sao Paulo done. You don't need to go back there. You don't need to stay there. Central Sao Paulo finished, done. But briefly, where should you stay instead of central Sao Paulo if you're not going to stay there? Well, if you're in Sao Paulo for a few days, 2 or 3 days, I would recommend probably staying somewhere near Avenida Paulista because you're near all of the tourist activities in Centro, and you have the Maspi Art Gallery on Avenida Paulista. You have the football museum not too far away. You have Ibirapuera Park, which is basically like the Central Park or the Hyde Park of Sao Paulo. Now, if you're on a quick business trip, you probably want to stay somewhere near Faria Lima or the Avenida Faria Lima. That's where a lot of the banks are. That's where tech firms like Google are. Now, if you're here for a longer period of time, like a few weeks or a couple of months, you probably want to stay either in the Pinheiros area or the Vila Madalena area. This is kind of like the cool, young, hip part of town. Lots of cafes, restaurants, bars, graffiti, artwork. But I will say, if you're going to stay in Vila Madalena or Pinheiros, don't stay too close to Rua Aspicuelta if you want a good night's sleep, because especially at the weekends, this street is full of bars, full of people, lots of loud noise and music. You probably want to be a few blocks away from this street here. The other really nice part of town that I like is Oscar Freire. If you stay somewhere near the Oscar Freire street, you're going to find lots of really nice coffee shops, designer clothes shops, jewelry shops, boutique shops. Kind of reminds me a bit of Kensington in London or Fulham in London. It is a very bougie part of town. I do like it. But anyway, long story short, do not stay in Centro when you come to visit Sao Paulo. Now then, the second thing that you must not do when you come to Sao Paulo is if you are going to take the metro, which I recommend because the metro is a very good way of getting around the city and it's very affordable, do not forget to have physical cash on you, Brazilian reais, before you go on your metro journey. Now, I actually did make a step-by-step guide on how to use the Sao Paulo metro system, and if you do want to check out this video, you just have to go to my channel homepage and go to my Sao Paulo playlist. You will find this video there. But cutting a long story short, if you are a foreigner, the only way that you can purchase metro tickets in Sao Paulo is by going to the desk, the ticket office, and by paying in cash. You cannot use a foreign bank card to purchase metro tickets at the time of recording in 2025. I still can't really get my head around that one, because if you go to a random beach town in the northeast of Brazil, for example, and you go to the beach, and if you want to buy a drink, all the dudes selling drinks will have card machines where you can use your foreign bank card to make the purchase, but not on the metro system for the biggest city in South America, the biggest city in the Southern Hemisphere. No, you can't use a foreign bank card to purchase a metro ticket. Still can't quite understand that one, but it is what it is. But the metro still is really affordable. It's currently 5 reais and 20 cents for a one-way, one-ticket journey, and that's about 90 US cents, so it's very cheap. I mean, it's certainly cheaper than using Ubers to travel around Sao Paulo every single day. And speaking of Ubers, let's talk about the third thing that you must not do when you come to Sao Paulo. And in fact, this applies for everywhere in Brazil. Do not get into a random driver's car if they claim to be an Uber driver or if their car has an Uber sticker on it. Now, in Sao Paulo, there are two main airports. You have the Guarulhos airport, which is the main international airport that you're probably going to be flying in if you're coming to Brazil. Then you have the domestic airport, Congonhas. Now, I've landed at both of these airports, and at both of these airports, I have noticed people shout Uber, Uber, or they'll come up to you and say Uber, Uber. This may come as a massive surprise to you, but if you do need to call an Uber, what you have to do is you have to go onto your phone and go onto the Uber application, and you call an Uber from the Uber application. You do not want to be going into a random person's car, even if that car has Uber posters all over it and he is absolutely convincing you that he's an Uber driver. No, you use the Uber application. I also did experience this in the Mercado Municipal too. Someone was trying to get my attention as I was leaving the Mercado Municipal, saying Uber, Uber, Uber. Obviously, I just ignore them because they're not an Uber driver. So just be aware, it's not just at the airports where this can happen throughout the entire city. And on the topic of using Ubers in Brazil, if you do need to call an Uber from either an airport or a bus terminal, just make sure you read the signage and you go to the correct position for your Uber to arrive. So if there is a sign saying Aplicativo de Transporte or Aplicativo de Mobilidade, you want to go to that position because that's where the Ubers are allowed to arrive. In many airports and bus terminals, Ubers are not allowed to arrive in the taxi stand. So don't go to the taxi stand hoping an Uber will come and pick you up, because they're not allowed to pick you up at taxi stands. Now again, let's keep on the theme of airports and bus terminals. Let's talk about the fourth thing that you must not do when you come to Sao Paulo. Now, if you do need to catch a flight from one of the airports, Congonhas or Guarulhos, or maybe you need to catch a bus from the main bus terminal, Tietê, the fourth mistake is do not leave your journeys to the airport or to the bus terminal too late. Make sure you get to either the airport you need to get to or the bus terminal well early, well in advance. There are a few reasons why, but the first obvious reason is that Sao Paulo is a massive city. It's very spread out. You can get a lot of traffic, especially during rush hour. So you do want to make sure that you leave early, just in case there are delays. Now, specifically talking about the Tietê bus terminal, there are 89 platforms at this bus station. It is huge. Now, if you buy your tickets online, your online ticket is not going to tell you what platform you're departing from. And when you arrive at the terminal, you will notice that there are like virtually no live boards telling you the live departures. So you're gonna have to figure out yourself which platform you need to get to, or ask someone, because yeah, there are not many live boards. I noticed one tiny live board with like 5 departures on it, and they were all leaving at 7:30. yeah, not very helpful at all for a massive bus terminal. So don't think you can rock up to the bus terminal 5 minutes before your bus departure and make your bus, because you may be spending at least 10 minutes trying to find your platform that you're departing from. So make sure you get to the bus terminal early. Now, if you need to get to Guarulhos Airport, as you can see on the map here, Guarulhos is pretty far out of town and you need to travel along a major highway, a busy highway to get here. So again, you do need to leave sufficient time for that airport. And also likewise for Congonhas Airport. Now you may be looking at the map thinking, oh, Congonhas is right in the middle of town, it's going to be really quick to get there. But what you need to realize is Congonhas is not too far away from the Faria Lima district, the business part of town. And if you need to catch a flight during rush hour, you are going to be stuck in a lot of traffic getting to Congonhas. And finally, let's talk about the fifth thing that you must not do when you come to Sao Paulo. Now, this one may be a little controversial, but this is my genuine opinion, having been here in Sao Paulo for the past few weeks. Do not come to Sao Paulo expecting it to be New York City. You are going to read a lot of articles online claiming that Sao Paulo is the New York City of South America. And yes, there are similarities. They are both big sprawling cities, Sao Paulo being the bigger of the two cities. They are both business cities. They both have a lot of tall buildings and skyscrapers. They both have a lot of homeless people, sadly. But that's really where the comparisons end as far as I'm concerned. They are both different cities. I've walked the streets of New York City. I've walked the streets of Sao Paulo, and the energy, the vibe is really different. New York City is hustle and bustle. People from all four corners of the globe, every language under the sun will be heard in New York City. You know, New York City is this cosmopolitan melting pot of tourists, different nationalities, different cultures, different religions. Whereas Sao Paulo is actually quite homogenous in the sense that 99% of people there are Brazilian, 99% of the language being spoken every day in the city is Portuguese. Yes, Sao Paulo is very ethnically and racially diverse. You have lots of Japanese immigration, German immigration, Italian immigration, Arab immigration, African immigration. So there's lots of different skin colors and different types of people. But if you go to Avenida Paulista, the most famous avenue in the city, or if you go to Japantown, Liberdade, you will be very, very lucky if you hear another language other than Portuguese, because Sao Paulo is just nowhere near as cosmopolitan as cities like London, Paris, and New York. Now that's a good thing, because when you come to Sao Paulo, you'll think to yourself, wow, it feels like I'm the only foreigner here. It feels like I've got this big city all to myself. But if you do love cities like New York and London, I think you will be a little bit underwhelmed when you come here if you do expect New York or London vibes, because it's just not the same as those cities. There is no city in the world like New York City, and there is no city in the world like Sao Paulo. I've been trying for the past few weeks to think of a city I've been to that I can compare Sao Paulo with, but I can't. It's a very unique city, and Brazil as a whole is an extremely unique country. There's no country in the world like Brazil. However, if you are looking for the most New York City-like city in South America, in my personal opinion, that would be Buenos Aires, Argentina. Some streets in Buenos Aires, I had to pinch myself because I literally thought I was walking in Manhattan. Honestly, Buenos Aires does have a kind of New York vibe, but still nothing in the world is like New York City. Now then, if you're from Sao Paulo yourself, or if you know the city very well, do comment below and let me know your Sao Paulo tips and recommendations. It will be useful for other travelers watching this video before they make the trip to Sao Paulo. And if you are planning to come to Sao Paulo for the first time very soon, let me know in the comments as well. It will be interesting to see. I do hope that you have found today's video useful and helpful. If so, make sure you hit the like button right now. It really does help out the channel, and it gives other travelers coming to Sao Paulo a chance to see this video because it promotes the video on the algorithm. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. That means that you don't miss out on my future videos, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel for more travel videos. So thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next video.